I want to welcome everyone to this special session. It's really special because it's pre-Christmas. It's a pleasure to welcome global best-selling author Shiv Khera. And what a wonderful way to gear up for the holiday season and take the time to reflect on the year that's gone by. I'm Amit Gupta. I'm the president for TiE Singapore, and I'm also CEO for Ecosystem. I'm absolutely privileged to be hosting this session. I have had conversations with Shiv, but this session and listening to him, this opportunity, I think, is a privilege that I feel I'm blessed. It's an opportunity for all of us to get a booster dose of inspiration as we head into the new year with fresh hope and energy, Shiv. Shiv, we are so proud of you to have you as a charter member of TiE Singapore, first of all.
Thank you.
I'm so grateful to you for agreeing to do this in a small, intimate session. I know that
Warren Buffett has run Berkshire Hathaway. He's made hundreds of deals, but believe it or not.
Okay. Thankfully, they've gone on mute. I would really request everyone to stay on mute, and we will open it up if we have time during the session for Shiv to interact. But I wanted to say, Shiv, very grateful for you to agree to do this as a small, intimate session. I know you're used to running very large-scale, longer sessions, and if I can recollect, I think you had a session over the last 12 months. You had one record session with 103,000 attendees. So we won't get you the numbers, but we have a number of people who are very passionate about listening to you. So,
I'm grateful.
So thank you for that. Very grateful also to our friends and our partners, Future of Us. That's a peer group of leaders that's trying to create impact. It's a very, very privileged to have them with us, and of course the IIT alumni who are also supporting this session. Now, Shiv, you don't really need an introduction, but I still felt more from a TiE perspective, we take a lot of pride in you. So I wanted to highlight some of your achievements. You've been the best-selling author, and of course, one of your books, You Can Win, which I think most of us have read. I've got a copy. Now I've got a signed copy from you as well. Sold over 8 million copies across 21 languages. So, and I think that has helped put millions of people on the path to growth and fulfillment. And I'm hoping that you will help some of us get more inspired as we get into the new year. I just wanted to say just a quick housekeeping recommendation for everyone. If you could, if we could request you to please turn off your mobile phones, not put them on silent, turn them off, like I have turned off mine. Oh, it's off, but it's on airplane mode, which I don't get to use. I haven't gotten to use that flight mode for a long time, so I put that on airplane mode. But the objective is that, in this digital era, we have all gotten so used to multitasking. We just wanted you to have the ability to give your full attention and benefit from the session that Shiv gives and not get distracted by messages. And so the session was planned for an hour. There may be a possibility it goes up to an hour, 15 minutes, depending on the interactions that we have. But please do help us, stay connected and engaged through the session. So Shiv, welcome. And anything you want to say before I kick off, with an easy question to start the session?
Well, Amit, I'm grateful for your kind words, and I feel privileged to be part of TiE. And having met you and Arishta, it was absolutely a pleasure last time. And of course, I met Jayesh, Puneet, and a few other people. So I'm indeed grateful. I feel privileged. But just on the lighter side, if I have your permission, Amit, you did use the word multitasking. And today, everybody talks of multitasking, Jayesh. And let me ask you, Amit, would you like to be operated by a surgeon who works on your kidney? And somebody said, where's kidney? They said, next to Sydney. But then the guy said, well, would you like him to operate on your kidney? And then on one phone, he's calling his wife, honey, who's coming for dinner? And the second for the stockbroker, what should I buy and what should I sell? Would you like to be operated by that guy? Boy, he's going to murder you. So this is what is multitasking being done today. You know what multitasking means? Ability to do multiple things, but doing only one at a time.
Beautiful.
That's called multitasking. Otherwise, it is called murder. So we need to be careful. Because of that reason, in US, UK, India, there are laws that while driving, you can't use your mobile. And your chances of getting a road accident are 20 times higher. That's not multitasking, that's disaster. And 1 out of 4 deaths in the US on road that takes place is because of the people using the mobile. So that we need to be very careful. So what multitasking is all about. All right. Well, Amit, thanks a lot for your kind words. And first of all, I must qualify 2 things. One, I don't have all the answers. And I don't think anybody in this world has all the answers today, because nobody knows the finish line to what's going on today. Nobody knows the finish line. And every time you get started with something new comes up. Look, Omicron came in now. Nobody knew about 6 weeks ago. Just knew something again. But anyway, I'm not that educated. My academics are, I'm a BCom 3rd division. I failed in my 10th. That's my academics. Now, just a little background of me. I come from a business family. We had coal mines in India, close to 1,000 people working. Now, I didn't create the mines. I inherited them, Amit. And the mines got nationalized. The government took over. So right from being a mine owner, we came on the street. Now, street means street. See, some families had money. Our family did not. My father had died when I was just about finishing college, and we were left with the liabilities and the assets were gone. And I was just married 4 weeks then. I remember a year later, my daughter was born, and I sold some of the last pieces of my mother's jewelry to get released from the hospital. I did not have $10 to buy milk that night. I tried my hands on 3 businesses with no money, and I failed in all 3. Finally, November 13, 1975, I left India, went to US, initially went to Toronto, and started life with a bucket in my hand, washing cars door to door. For about a year and a half, 2 years, I was washing cars on the street. And totally by accident, I got into selling life insurance. And Amit, interestingly, within 90 days, my manager called me right back to fire me for non-performance. Now, at that point, I attended a program by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, the man who wrote the book, Power of Positive Thinking. And that was a turning point in my life. And I'll share with you what really happened at that point. See, till then, I kept failing all my life and kept blaming the whole world for my failure, not realizing that I was my own biggest problem. See, nothing changed outside, something changed inside, and the direction in my life changed. And I went back to my manager and I said, buddy, give me one more shot. Give me one more shot. And he did. And from that day onwards, I started hitting $1 million policies, moved on to the US, got into 3 businesses. I bought out a company out of California in 1984, started the New Jersey operation with no clients, and I sold my company with close to 500 clients for a decent sum. Now, that is my last 46 years of my journey. And now I give the floor back to you, sir, and we'll take it forward from there, sir.
Oh, Shiv, you're, just listening to your story and the adversities that you went through, how you turned your life around, and how, candidly and with pride you share some of those challenges and how you overcame them, I think is an inspiration for the rest of us. And
I'm grateful, sir.
On the topic of adversity, I think I've absolutely got to start with this. I mean, the last 2 years have been such a roller coaster ride. And, when we met last, you were in Singapore. For those of you who are not aware, Singapore is one of Shiv's many homes. And, you were here and we had lunch. And the adversity you had to deal with was that your vaccine, and, because you'd had COVID yourself and your vaccine, you'd only got one vaccine, which meant that you weren't able to actually go into the restaurants in Singapore. So, but you made the most of it, and you took the time to come and see me. And I'm so touched by that, and I'm sure so many other people are, because it's the kind of person you are. You're thoughtful. I know you met a lot of people, because there was a buzz going around that they met Shiv. So let me start with this one question: how do you think the pandemic has impacted people and people around you? What you've seen, and all of us?
Amit, this crisis has gone all over. And since there is no cutoff point right now, there's a lot of uncertainty. Nobody knows anything. There's a lot of uncertainty. And that uncertainty is leading to a lot of insecurity. And that insecurity is leading to anxiety, stress, frustration, depression, and even anger. Now, all I can say is stress is both normal and natural. Anybody who says they have no stress, they belong to the lunatic asylum. You see, the athlete at the Olympics, is he under stress? Answer is yes. Amit, the only example that I can think of which sits right is all of us, either in real life or in movies, have seen at the race course. Have you seen the thoroughbreds? When they are being taken into the cabin, are they walking relaxed, casually? No, they're jumping like this. You know why? They're under very heavy stress. And the moment they're put into the cabin and the bell rings, what do? Bang, they shoot and they perform.
Yeah.
Now, that is a thoroughbred. But if you take a jackass to the race course, this jackass walks so relaxed, comfortable, cool. He's not jumping like the thoroughbreds, but then for the rest of his life, he will remain a jackass. He will never perform like a thoroughbred. Now, Amit, hear this carefully. Stress is the price we pay to be a thoroughbred in life. I repeat one more time, English language. Stress is the price we pay to be a thoroughbred in life. Now, Amit, all of us can handle stress. All of us can handle stress. You know what we cannot handle? Is chronic stress. When stress becomes chronic, that is the time we start breaking down. Now, think about it. How come under the same set of circumstances, some people break records while others break themselves? How come? Think about it. Identical circumstances, some people break records while others break themselves. How come? Now, all I can say is, let us not overrate this crisis, and let us not underrate our strength to fight and win. Now, this crisis has impacted us three ways. One, it has impacted our life. Two, impacted our livelihood. Three, impacted our lifestyle. Now, how has it impacted our life? What we do and where we go and who we meet could be a matter of life and death. Impacted our life. Two, pretty much all over the world, whether they've been job cuts, salary cuts, businesses, some businesses have gone permanently out of business, and even governments are struggling to collect taxes. But you know something, every few years, there's a new word comes up. 6 years ago, the buzzword was startup. So everybody was starting up. Then the buzzword came, make in India, make in India, make in India. Everybody was making in India now. Now the new buzzword is work from home. Okay, work from home. All right, maybe in IT and many other places you can work from home. But tell me, how do you work from home in a construction industry, sir? Can you? Answer is no. How do you work in a manufacturing industry, work from home? Can you? Answer is no, you can't. And besides, if working from home could be the total answer to everything, then I guess we should get married on the net and we should have surgeries on the net. It doesn't work that way. Many things have to be done differently regardless. And you could have babies on the computers. You can't, man. Those things don't work anymore that way. Many things don't work that way. Now, let me share with you. I had a banker visit me the other day. I asked him, I said, you people are paying a lot of salary, in fact, full salary to your people. Are you able to justify output? Are you able to justify output, Amit? So the man said, Mr. Khera, the 80-20 rule applies. 20% people are mature and they're responsible. They can work without supervision. But 80% people still need supervision, even if you do give them measurable targets. You see, people who are not mature, Amit, they think working from home is a paid vacation. It's not a paid vacation. But you know something? We need to understand the difference between maturity and lack of maturity also. And I remember very clearly when I was selling life insurance, Amit, I was on 100% commission. I wouldn't get paid if I didn't sell, and I had no money anyway. But interestingly, at that point, I saw there were some people who were getting salaries, but they were not doing the job. And you know, Amit, that is the time I learned the difference between making money versus earning money. Amit, I learned that day, making money is criminal, earning money is spiritual. Are you with me, my friend?
Yes, I am. I'm writing it down.
Making money is criminal, earning money is spiritual. Jayesh, are you there, sir? And what is the difference between the two? You see, when you earn money, you put your energy and ethics behind it, and that's the difference between making money and earning money. And you know, we have a lot of clients in different parts of the world, and we need to bring the basics back that wages without work amounts to stealing. And in fact, there was a survey by Gallup which said 63% of people who go to work, they're disengaged. Means they're not doing the job. And additional 24% are actively disengaged. Means they make sure that others also don't do their job. That only leaves 13% of people who go to work actually do work. This is a global survey before the pandemic. Only 13% of people who go to work actually do work. Tell me, Amit, is this not an integrity issue?
Absolutely.
It is a huge, massive integrity issue. See, we got to get back to basics. Big difference between making money versus earning money. And sadly, today, most people want to make money. Very few want to earn money. So we need to come down to basics again. And one more thing is livelihood, and one more thing is lifestyle. You see, till the pandemic came, see, all of us were in the fast lane. We were running. We had no time. Look at it, what a paradox it is. Amit, the amount of time-saving devices we have today, we've never had that many in history. And yet we don't have what?
Time.
We don't have time for a joke. You see, and you know why we don't have time? Because somewhere we messed up our priorities. And by the way, I'm not just giving lectures, I'm guilty myself. I repeat, I am guilty myself. Because somewhere we mess up our priorities. And whenever we mess up our priorities, we forget to distinguish between what's urgent in life and what's important in life. Now, urgent may or may not be important, and important may or may not be urgent. But the interesting thing is, whenever we ignore what is important, it always converts into urgent. See, health is important, but it's not urgent. Exercising every day is important, but it's not urgent. See, if I have a crucial meeting tonight and if I cannot exercise, It's not the end of the world. But if I ignore my health long enough, guess what happens? I will end up in the hospital. See, you ignore what is important, it converts into urgent. See, Jitendra is right here on the window. See, in life, relationships are important, but they're not urgent. But if you ignore relationship long enough, guess what happens? You start talking through your lawyers. See, whenever we ignore what is important, it always converts into urgent. And the interesting thing is, before this crisis, we were all running. And what the crisis has done, Amit, is made people step backwards and reevaluate the priorities. You ask people, why you go to work? I go to work for my family. Why you work hard? I work hard for my family. Who are the most important people in your life? My family. Who are the most neglected? Also my family. What a joke. The most important people sometimes do become the most neglected too, and we are guilty about it. But you know what the crisis has done is made people reevaluate that we were running all right till now, but check, were we running in the right direction? And now the moral of this little story is that in life, direction is much more important than speed. I repeat one more time. Amit, direction in life is a lot more important than speed. So I'll stop right here. I'll let you take over from here.
Well, I think I've been taking notes, Shiv. You talked about multitasking. You talked about the fact that we have so many time-saving devices, and yet what we don't have is time. And important versus urgent is always, as a leader to me, that's the most critical piece of advice I give to everyone on my team. And it's how tired are we of listening to people being on back-to-back meetings all day, because they don't have to get up from their seat and they don't have to be stretching. So it leaves them very little time to plan. But I wanted to just take a slightly different question, Shiv, for you. When I shared my my picture with you, obviously I was very proud of it, and I shared it with a few friends. And people remember not just your book, they remember your one quote, and that's the winners don't do different things, they do things differently. So, what would be really good to understand, Shiv, is, and maybe you could help us unpack that statement more. I mean, we get a sense of it, but why don't we hear directly from you? It would be a privilege. How do they? What do they do differently? How do they do things differently?
Okay, interesting. Amit, this trademark quote, winners don't do different things, they do things differently. Many times people ask me, what do they do differently? And the answer is, one, winners form the habit of doing things losers don't like to do. And what are the things losers don't like to do? They're the same things winners don't like to do either, but they do it anyway. See, losers don't like to get up in the morning. Winners don't like to get up in the morning either, but they get up anyway. See, losers don't like to work hard. Winners don't like to work hard either, but they work hard anyway. See, winners form the habit of doing things losers don't like to do. You notice one thing, if we have to think to do the right thing, we can never do it right. It must come automatic. It must come automatic. See, I don't care how old we are. Our parents said one thing, form good habits and habits form characters. Because 90% of our behavior is habitual. We don't think, we just act. And if we have positive habits, we are a positive character. And if we have negative habits, we are a negative character. And good habits are hard to come by, but they're easy to live with. And bad habits come easy, but they're hard to live with. And before we got the habits got us. Before we got the habits got us. Now, I'll share with you one little example. See, we have a client with a Swiss collaboration. It's a consulting client of ours. And this man called me, the CEO. He said, Mr. Khera, can you do some sales training for our people? I said, give me a couple of days. Let me check out your people. 2 days later, I called the CEO and I said, sir, your people don't need sales training. I said, they need basic training, courtesy, etiquette, manners, integrity. I said, what? He said, yeah. I said, courtesy, etiquette, manners, integrity. He said, what does it mean? I said, many of your salespeople have appointments, they're running late. Yeah. They don't even have the courtesy to call and say, I'm sorry, I'm running late. And 2, time to call is when? Before you got late or after you got late? And 3, you walk in late, they don't even have the courtesy to say, I'm sorry I kept you waiting. And 4, in case, Amit, hear this, in case they call, what do they say on the phone? I'm stuck in traffic. Now, don't get me wrong. Traffic has become a real issue all over the world. But many times they start only 5 minutes before the appointment and they blame it on
the traffic.
They don't have the integrity and guts to say, I'm sorry, I apologize, I did start late. And you know something? Only the first lie is difficult. Second becomes easier. Third becomes easier. Fourth becomes easier. Fifth becomes easier. Sixth becomes easier. Seventh becomes. And very soon you are dealing with a chronic liar who is a rascal. Let me ask you, am I exaggerating what I just said? Or this is common practice? And tell me, Amit, if this is the starting point of a relationship, tell me how long will it last, sir?
Oh, it's very hard because it leads to a lot of second guessing, right?
Okay. How long? And only the first lie is difficult. Second becomes easier, third becomes easier. And let me share with you, studies have shown that people who lie also steal. And let me share one more thing with you. See, many times people say, this is a little lie, when the big one comes, I'll tell the truth. You practice enough little lies in your life, when the big one comes, what happens? You end up telling a big lie. You heard this phrase, practice makes perfect? Do you believe it's true? If you do, just do me a thumbs up. Say yes. Talk it. Amit, incorrect answer. Remember, practice does not make perfect. Practice only makes permanent whatever you practice. Yeah. Only perfect practice makes perfect. Some people keep practicing their mistakes and they become perfect in making mistakes. I just shared with you the example. Yeah. Many times people say this little lie, when the big one comes, I'll tell the truth. You practice enough little lies in your life. When the big one comes, what happens? You end up telling a big lie. And people say, well, there's a little thing. When the big one comes, I'll show courage. You practice cowardice, enough little things in life. When the big one comes, what happens? You end up being a big coward. Practice does not make perfect. Go check out anywhere in the world.
The right practice.
I'll share a quick example with you in martial art. See, when these young kids get the white belt, yellow, orange, purple, brown, black belt, 5 years later, you see, when these kids, they get the white belt, these young kids, they want to hit hard. At that time, you know what the teacher says? Go slow. Learn the form. Learn the form. If your form is incorrect, the incorrect form will become permanent. See, you are practicing, you need to practice right to make it permanent. If your form is incorrect form will become permanent. So he says, go slow, go slow, go slow. You see, if you have speed and your form is incorrect, you'll fracture your own hand. So my friend, this is very clear. One, winners form the habit of doing things losers don't like to do. It comes automatic. If we have to think to do the right thing, we can never do it right. You see, how many times have you heard people talking like this, that this guy is just lucky. Every time he touches dirt becomes gold. And this guy is just unlucky. Every time he touches gold becomes dirt. You know, there's a lot of truth in it. The person you call lucky, every time they touch dirt becomes gold. Analyze their life, analyze every transaction in their life, and you will find the positive behavior has become habitual. Every time they do it right. It happens right. The reflexes move right. And the same thing is true with a person you call unlucky. Analyze their life, analyze every transaction in their life. You will find the negative behavior has become habitual. Every time they do it wrong. The reflexes move wrong. Habitual. So one important thing that is that we need to bring all positive behavior into reflex action if we want to move up in life. That's the only way. There is no other way. And I'll just share with you the second thing. In fact, I'll just cut it short now. The second thing that winners do differently is winners always put in that extra effort even when it hurts. Very important thing. Amit, winners always put in that extra effort even when it hurts. Dan Gable became the champion in wrestling. And when he became the champion, people asked him, how did you become the champion? And he said, when I was preparing for the championship bout, I was so exhausted, I wanted to give up. He said, then I pictured in my mind my opponent, he must be practicing. So I went back to practice again. He said, again, a point came, I was exhausted. I wanted to give up. I pictured my opponent, he must be practicing. So I went back to practice again. And he said, a point came in my life, I could not lift myself anymore. And he said, I pictured my opponent. I don't think he can lift himself anymore either. Guess what I did? I went back into more practice. He said, till now we were at par. This is the only edge I have on him. Is it a coincidence he could be a winner? How can he not be a winner? See, winners don't do different things. They do things differently. They always put in that extra effort, even when it hurts. You see, was Dan Gable an exception? Amit, tell me, who was the legend in martial arts?
Oh, I'm sure, but there's many of them, Shiv, but Bruce Lee.
There you go. That's it. Bruce Lee, only one. Not many legend, only one legend, Bruce Lee. Now, did you also know that Bruce Lee's one leg was shorter than the other by 1 inch?
Yes, I heard.
Okay. His eyesight was -10. He used to practice 5,000 punches a day. You see, 1 mm, 2 mm could design a person. Now, was Bruce Lee an exception? Answer is no. You see, Michael Phelps, he created history at Beijing, but are you aware that 2 years prior to the Olympics, he fractured his hand and the doctors, you can't get into the water anymore. Now, he was preparing for this event for a decade. He told the doctor, I will get in the water. I won't use my hands, I use my legs. He continues using his legs. 2 years later, at Beijing, he created history. Won 8 gold medals. Now, when he won 8 gold medals, this is my version of it. The press was there and they said, must be your lucky day. I mean, hear this. He said, must be your lucky day to Michael Phelps. And Michael Phelps didn't like it. He said, you come here, I'll tell you how lucky I got. He said, in the last 4 years, I have trained 10,000 hours. And if you're good at maths, that translates into 2,500 hours per year. And if you're good at calculus, that is 8 hours per day, no Sunday. He said, you go sit in the water for 8 hours every day. For the next 4 years, your body will shrivel. And he asked, did I get lucky? He said, luck is not designed to deliver these things in life. Too many crackpots keep waiting for a jackpot. It doesn't work that way. And he said one more thing. He said, athletes train 15 years for 15 seconds of performance. Go ask them, did they get lucky?
Yeah.
Now, was he an exception? Answer is no. Look at this guy, Steve Jobs, as his speech at Stanford. His first sentence was, what? I came to this world unwanted. The day he was born, he was put up for adoption. He said, nobody wanted me. Was he an exception? Answer is no. You know something? Why am I sharing all this with you? I bet people like you have struggled. We have struggled. Many other people in TiE have come from zero to up and minus also. But you know something? Why am I sharing this with you? Real stories of real people, because all of them had problems, and some of them had much greater problems than you and I are facing today. But you know something? When we hear real life stories of real people who have turned a negative into a positive, it forces us to redefine the word success. Success is not absence of problems. It is overcoming problems. See, and success is not measured by how high we go up in life, but how many times we bounce back when we fall down. That is success, my friend. And you know something? This is what they do differently. Are you with me? This is what winners do differently. And hear this. See, many years ago, the world record in high jump used to be 7'4". Not pole vault, high jump. Now, I mean, how can a human being clear a bar 7'4"? Well, 4'7" is tough.
Yeah.
So somebody asked the champion, how do you clear a bar 7'4"? You know what his answer was? He said, I throw my heart over the bar and my body follows. How do you like that?
Wonderful.
He said, I throw my heart over the bar and my body follows. How can he not be the champion? How can he not be the champion?
Yeah.
See, winners don't do different things. They do things differently. See, this is the difference between a laborer, craftsman, and an artist. A person who only works with a hand is called a laborer. And a person who works with a hand and a head is called a craftsman. And a person who works with a hand, head, and the heart is called an artist. See, unless we bring everything, including your profession, my profession, unless we bring everything to the point of art, we might as well get out. We can never do it well in life. You know something? A doctor comes to check you out. You come from a doctor's family. A doctor comes to check you out. You can tell whether he is only checking with a hand only, checking with a hand and a head only, or check with a hand, head, and the heart also. You know, and you people who in the kitchen who cook food, when you eat food, you can tell whether the cooking was done with only the hand or the heart also. How do you like that?
Oh, completely agree.
Absolutely. So that is the difference between a laborer and a craftsman and artist. And no matter what your profession, I don't have that much time, but I was doing a program in US. There were 200 people. There were doctors, engineers, attorneys, accountants, carpenters, plumbers, electricians. That's a mixed group. And they talk of competition. And my opening sentence was, Amit, that never in the history of mankind has it been so easy to succeed in life the way it is today. Regardless of your profession, we have no competition today. How do you like that? I repeated myself twice. So one person at the far end said, how come we have no competition? So I asked him this one question, and I'm asking you the same question, Amit. I asked him, I said, tell me, regardless of your profession, how many people do you know right now walking off the street who are willing to do a little bit more than what they get paid for? How many? How many people do you know right now walking off the street who are willing to do a little bit more than what they get paid for? The answer is hardly any.
Yeah.
See, most people don't even want to do what they get paid for. There's a second big category of people who only want to do what they can get by with. There's a very small fraction of people who are willing to do a little bit more than what they get paid for. And I asked him, if you fall into that category, I don't care what your profession is, tell me where's your competition?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't even find a good accountant today. You can't even go find a good attorney today. You can't find a good carpenter. You can't find a good plumber. You kind of find a good anything. The question is, are you willing to do a little bit more than what you get paid for? And you know something, Amit? If you look at the life histories of people who have succeeded and then sustained success. See, success is one thing. Sustaining success, sustained success, and built goodwill. They all have lived by this one principle. And that is, I shall always give more than what I get to my family. I shall always give more than what I get to my organization. And I shall always give more than what I get to my customer. And I shall always give more than what I get to my society and my country. And I said, if you live by this, tell me where's your competition? You know, I share with you one thing only. Why do our clients hire us? There are many, many more qualified people than us. I'm a BCom third division, failed in 10th. That's my academics. Why do our clients hire us? Because you know what? Our commitment to our client is never 100%. It is always 200%. And I'm grateful to God, and I talk out of gratitude. For every one client we take, we refuse 2 or 3. And in the last 35 years, we have not made one outbound call for corporate business. It's just been inbound. So it's the word of mouth. Folks, you have no competition. You become the competition. That's all.
So well said, Shiv. There are so many messages in those 10 minutes that you have shared. If I encapsulate all of that in my head, what I come up with is, there's never really a traffic jam on the extra mile, because if you're going that extra mile, there are not a lot of people there, but I think you said so many things that were so profound. It got me thinking as well. I think that I would have failed some of the questions you would have asked, Shiv. So I was making notes. I'm going to make sure I work on those if there are any blind spots. But really, really completely agree with that. And I think the key, I guess, is how do leaders help people cope with the current crisis? How do they help themselves? How do they help others? How do we help ourselves cope with the current crisis and actually then prepare to win? Because you've given us some pointers, but if we could take some messages away from that, Shiv, I think that would be very meaningful for us.
Amit, we've been doing this 4-day leadership program for Lufthansa, Johnson & Johnson. Some things I've shared and learned from them also a lot. You see, to overcome the crisis, in fact, I have 9 steps I don't think I can cover, but I'm just going to see if I can cover only 2 or 3. Only 2 or 3, that's all. Now, about 46 years ago, I attended a program by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. There were about 1,000 people, and I was one of them. And Dr. Peale came in, and he looked at everybody and said, "You people appear so cool, calm, comfortable. It appears nobody has a problem here." Then he asked, "Does anybody have a problem here?" So who doesn't have it? So everybody raised their hand. We have a problem. Then he said, "How many people would like to get rid of their problems?" Again, everybody raised their hand. Then Dr. Peel said, while I was coming here, I came across a place where I saw some people lying down, totally relaxed, comfortable, totally cool. They had no problem whatsoever. How many people would like to know where that place is? Again, everybody raised their hand. And Dr. Peel said, 2 blocks away from here, there is a cemetery. There are people lying there, totally relaxed, fleshed out, comfortable. They have no problem whatsoever. Then he asked, how many people would like to get rid of the problem? Nobody raised their hand. Everybody put their hand in the pocket. And then Dr. Peel said, remember, problem is a sign of life. So long as we are alive, we shall have problems. The day we don't have problem, we'd be dead. And that day, and he said, when you're running short of problems, watch out. That's the time to get on your knees and pray to God. If you stop trusting me anymore, send me some problems. And that day, he gave a prayer, which is called the Serenity Prayer. I bet you must have heard it. And for the past 46 years, I have never left my home without my prayer. And I've come across many adversities, and this has helped me tremendously. And the prayer goes like this. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference what I can and what I cannot. I repeat, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference what I can and what I cannot. Now, if you analyze and dissect this little prayer, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. Now, the question is, can we change everything in this world to suit ourselves? Answer is no. Can we manipulate everything and mold to suit ourselves? Answer is no. There are many things beyond us, such as, I didn't choose my parents, neither did you. I didn't decide where I was going to be born, neither did you. If this is my height and the color of my skin, there's nothing I can do. And granted, sometimes people are born deformed. And sometimes bad things do happen to good people for no fault of their own. How did this crisis come? Who knows? Nobody knows. But it's here. So it says, what I cannot change, let me accept it graciously, not grudgingly. Because many times, we keep fighting the things we just cannot change, and we bring stress into our lives, we become paralyzed, and we become unproductive. Raji is there. Yeah, Raji, are you there? Okay. And we become unproductive. And it says, what I cannot change, let me accept it graciously. And if I can change, then give me the courage to do it, and wisdom to know what I can and what I cannot. Now, when I wrote my new book, You Can Achieve More, I think I gave you one, but You Can Achieve More, I took this thought 2 steps forward, and I wrote in that life is full of choices and life is full of compromises. See, Amit, it seems like a contradiction, but not really. See, Raji, if I ill-treat you, I have chosen to be ill-treated, haven't I? See, Jitendra, if I treat you with discourtesy, I've chosen to be treated with discourtesy, haven't I? See, if I light up a cigarette, I've chosen to invite cancer, haven't I? If I drink and drive, I have chosen to invite an accident, haven't I? And if I exercise every day, I've chosen to invite good health, haven't I? And if I eat too much every day, I've chosen to be obese, haven't I? Now, if I tell lies, I have chosen to lose my credibility, haven't I? If I tell the truth, I've chosen to be a credible person, haven't I? See, Amit, life is full of choices. See, now we are all free to the point of choice. But after we make our choices, the choice controls the chooser. We have no more choice. Raji, are you with me? After that, we have no more choice. Now, how is life full of compromises? See, in life, we cannot choose the cards that are dealt to us. What we can choose is how we play the game. And sometimes nature gives us a lemon. The choice is ours. Do we cry or do we make lemonade? That's our choice. Now, sometimes, Amit, people ask me that people who are successful, don't they make mistakes? And people who fail, don't they do positive things in life? And my answer is that people who succeed, they do make mistakes. But remember, making a mistake once in a while does not bring failure. Repeating the same mistake again and again is what brings failure. And doing something positive once in a while does not bring success either. Repeating the same positive behavior again and again is what brings success. Are you with me?
Yeah, 100%.
See, so what is success? Series of positive decisions in life is called success. And series of negative decisions in life is called failure. You know something, somebody said beautifully, success is a habit, and so is failing. There are people who succeed one after the other. You know why? Habitually, they do the right thing. And there are people who keep failing one after the other. You know why? Because habitually, they keep doing the wrong thing. And you know, that's what we talk in our leadership program, that after 4 days, people walk away with a 31-day action plan. I learned that long time ago, 46 years ago. You know what the 31-day action plan is? Magic of 31 days. It takes 31 days of conscious, continuous effort to make or break a habit. To make a positive habit or break a bad habit.
Yeah.
But you know something? Nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to do it. They don't want to do it, but they won't do it. They won't do it. You know something? If you and I practice 5,000 punches a day, we could be legend like Bruce Lee. Do you know that? If you and I practice 10,000 hours in 4 years, you and I can be at where Michael Phelps is. But you know something? We will not do it. Hear this. Most people want to succeed, but very few people are willing to pay the price to prepare to succeed. I repeat one more time. Most people want to succeed, but very few people are willing to pay the price to prepare to succeed. Are you with me?
100%. Absolutely.
And let me share two more things that I'll wind up, so I'm not going to go further. I'll close this. This was first step that I shared with you, overcoming crisis. Second step is convert wasted time to productive time. In the US, before the pandemic, there was a survey which said an average American watches 4 hours of TV per day. Now, that's not average American, average European, Indian, Australian. Oh, and right now, during the pandemic, there are people watching 8 hours of TV per day, too. So one person went to a friend who used to watch 4 hours of TV every day and asked, how much did this TV cost you? He said, $1,000, that's all. He said, you don't know how to calculate money value of your time. He said, what do you mean? So he asked, how much money do you make a year? He said, $100,000. He said, how many hours do you work a year? He said, 2,000 hours. He said, your hourly rate is $50 an hour. And you watch 4 hours of TV per day. That's $200 per day. Multiply 365 you watch for the whole year. That comes close to $85,000 per year. He said, you know, $85,000 per year, that's more than your EMI on $1 million home. You understand? How do you calculate money value of your time?
Absolutely. Shiv, I think we are blowing away a lot more money these days on Netflix with binge watching. We're spending 8-10 hours.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Watching TV, it's relaxing. Watch a nice movie. And there's so many good things. But watching 4 hours, what the hell are you doing, man? You are burning money and throwing it out of your pocket every minute. And that guy you are watching, he's making money. He loves you to watch it. Okay, that's one side of the picture. But there's a second side of the picture. In the same book that I gave you, I also mentioned another survey that 85% of millionaires and billionaires in the world today are first generation. Only 15% coming from inheritance. And they were asked, how could you achieve so much financial success in such a short time? You know what the answer was? We read books. How many books? 50 books a year. That is one book a week, one book a week. And they were asked, what kind of books do you read? They said, we don't read fiction. We have no time to waste. We only read self-help books. You know why? One good idea is worth $1 million. How many ideas do we need to succeed in life? Oh, only one. And interestingly, I was reading on Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, Amit, reads 6 to 8 hours per day. Currently, 6 to 8 hours a day. Bill Gates, an avid reader. And these multimillionaires, billionaires, read one book a week. What does it tell us? There is a connection between learning and earning and learning and earning and learning and earning and learning and earning. Learn more, earn more, learn more, earn more, learn more, earn more. Yet, there are people who say, I have no time. They are either unemployed, underemployed, watch TV 6 hours. How come they have the time to watch TV 6 hours, 10 hours? And you know what they say? When I have the time, well, you never have time. And number two, I don't have the money to buy books. You know what? You can get every book for free in a library today, but they will never do it. They'll never do it. You see, and I learned one more thing, Amit, that a serious reader will never borrow or lend books. Never, 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 never. Many times people tell me, Mr. Khera, I got a great book, I can lend it to you. I said, no, don't. Either give it to me, gift it to me, sell it to me, don't lend it to me. Why? Because I won't give it back to you. Why? Because when I read a book, I always underline, make notes on the side. Why? Because I learned one thing. Reading a good book once is never good enough. You see, there are books I've read 6, 7, 8 times. Now, Arrow Electronics, Amit, $26 billion US firm, they're my clients. Just about 9 months ago, they celebrated a bumper quarter, $2 billion in sale. They celebrated, and they had an award function. They called me for a keynote. So I asked the managing director, I said, buddy, people are going under, you going up. What a great success story. How come, what do you attribute this to? And he said to me, he said, you probably don't recall, 10 years ago, I attended your leadership program, and he said, you had a stall at the back, you were selling your books and your tapes at the back. He said, I bought your stall. I said, what do you mean bought my stall? He said, I have 700, 800 employees in my company. And he said, I bought your book for everybody. I gave your book to everyone. And he said, last 10 years, your book has been read by my people at least 20 times. It's a ritual. He said, if you ever forget a paragraph in your book, call me, I'll tell you where it is. I know your book by heart. And he says, we practice it. That is the way we keep on track. And he said, today we have 20% market share, we have 2% market share, and we're growing up this way. Amazing. And you know, if during this crisis, if we have not upskilled ourselves or become more knowledgeable or become healthy and fitter, we cannot blame that we had no time. Now, I'll share. The lockdown took place many places in March last year. I did my first webinar April 8th. Amit, till April 8th, I was learning to do SMS for my grandchildren. In my life, I have never done an email. Hello? I've never done an email to date. But I learned to operate this laptop from April 8th onwards. And to date, this program that I'm doing for TiE tonight, this is my 185th webinar in 20 months. And I'm not doing all free. Pricewaterhouse, Aviva, GSK, they're paying us money for it. This has opened up a new avenue of business for me. Why? I have upskilled a little, one. Number two, I used to read 30, 40 books at one time. I dropped the habit. I went back, picked up my books. And today, at this point in my life, I read 2 to 3 hours per day. Or watch some YouTube. And 3, barring, of course, I was sick for about 6 months in the hospital. But before that, I was 95 kilos. Then I came down to 86 kilos. I've started exercising back again. So what I'm saying is, if during this crisis, if we have not upskilled ourselves or become more knowledgeable or become healthy and fitter, can we blame that we had no time? Time is all we have at this point. Okay, and see if I can do the last thing here. And that is, my friend, to overcome any crisis in life, build a support group in life. No matter how strong you are, Amit, how strong we are, we still need each other. I repeat, no matter how strong we are, we still need each other. And build strong relationships in life. Let me share you a little story from my book, You Can Win. There were 2 childhood friends, Bill and Harry. They went to school together, college together, joined the army, and they were fighting in the same unit. And the bullets were flying all over. Harry was in the trench. He heard a voice come, Harry, I'm hurt, please come and help me. So right away he knew this was his childhood friend, Bill. So he asked the captain, can I go? Captain said, no. Look at the way bullets are flying. You could be dead. I could be short-handed. And besides the way Bill is sounding, I don't think he's going to make it anyway. So Harry kept quiet, sat down. But the voice came again. Harry, I'm hurt. Please come and help me. Since he had been refused the first time, he didn't have the guts to ask the second time. But then the voice came the 3rd time, 4th time, 5th time. 5th time, he couldn't hold himself. He said, Captain, this is my childhood friend. I must go. Captain said, okay, go. So Harry crawled through the darkness, grabbed Bill, dragged him back, threw him into the trench, and fell over him. And they found Bill dead. It was dead body. So when Captain saw Bill dead, he got angry. He said, didn't I tell you? You could have been killed. I could have been short-handed. And he didn't make it anyway. He said, Harry, you made a mistake. Harry said, no, Captain, I did not make a mistake. Because when I reached Bill and I grabbed him, he wasn't dead. His last words were, Harry, I knew you would come. He said, I did not make a mistake. You see, this is how crucial relationships are in life. And when there's a good one, it needs to be nurtured and cherished. And remember, our biggest asset is not our bank balance. Our biggest asset is our relationship balance. See, you notice one thing, that people who have good relationships, Amit, what they can achieve with one phone call, you cannot achieve with $1 million. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Raji, are you with me? Jitendra, are you with me, sir? See, people who have good relationship, what they can achieve with one phone call, you cannot achieve with $1 million. And when we talk of relationships, we talk of what? Personal, professional, and social. And today I do address many business schools in different parts of the world. And in business schools, MBA students are being taught, go network. Join Chamber of Commerce, join TiE, join Rotary, join Lions, go network. And same thing, Chamber of Commerce, TiE, everything, networking. You ask them, what are you doing? I'm networking. And why are you networking? Because I'm building contacts. Why are you building contacts? Because he's a doctor, he's a lawyer, he's a politician, he's a money guy. Someday he could be useful. Usefulness goes, friendship also goes. What a joke. Something they teach in business schools, build all these networking. They never taught them the difference between building contacts versus building relationships. Are you with me?
100%.
There's a world of a difference.
Yeah.
Now, I was in Singapore one evening. I came back from dinner. And Amit, a man met me in the lobby and he asked him, Mr. Khera, you came from dinner? I said, yes. He said, you met some people tonight? I said, yes. And he asked me, I hope you met some people who could be useful to you. I felt like giving him a piece of my mind and something else. See, his only criteria of meeting people was usefulness. What he could extract out of them. This is what I call parasites, rascals, who are takers in life, who are only looking what they can extract out of you. You can never build relationship with rascals like that.
Yeah.
They're only takers in life. Now, this person does not understand that meeting good people in life is good enough. Usefulness is a byproduct of relationship. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Amit, hear this one more time. Meeting good people in life is good enough. Usefulness is a byproduct of relationship.
Completely agree, Shiv.
Now, see, I'll give you an example. If I have a friend who's been my friend for 20 years, and tonight if he has a problem, who's the most natural person he will go for help? The friend of 20 years, he's not going to make new friends. Now, is it my duty to help? Answer is yes. You see, if I don't help him, am I behaving like a friend? No. Am I doing him a favor? No. See, remember, helping a friend is a duty of a friend. It is never the purpose of friendship. Because if it becomes the purpose finishes, friendship also finishes. It is always incidental to friendship, never the purpose of friendship. Always incidental. Now, what builds a relationship going? See, Amit, you keep hearing, none of us is perfect. We all make mistakes. So, in order to build, we must be tolerant. True? Yes, no. If you agree, do thumbs up. Raji, thumbs up, yes, no? Okay, all of you got wrong answers. All of you got wrong answers. Folks, hear this word. I don't like this word tolerance. I would replace that word with mutual respect. See, Amit, I and my wife lived together not because we can tolerate each other. We live together because we respect each other. The day respect for each other goes, you can't live together. You know what the word tolerance means? Postponing the blast. You see, employers and employees work long-term together, not because they can tolerate each other. They work long-term together because they respect each other. Are you with me? Raji, are you with me?
Yeah.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And what brings mutual respect? It is your value system. Right now, I'm not getting into it. Whose values are we talking about? Who are we to judge? What makes that my values are right? We talk all into our leadership programs. But you see, important thing is, it is a value system. You notice one thing, Amit, where the values do not match between your employers and employees, they cannot work in the same place. Either you change your values or you change your employer's organization. Yeah. Not only where the values don't match, you can't live in the same home. Either you change your values or you change your family. This is true all over the world.
Yeah, yeah. No, I couldn't agree more.
And finally, eventually, to build relationships, we need to learn to become a giver in life. You can't be a taker. Yeah. And you know what I just shared with you in the last 1 hour, 1.5 hours? You are a very well-traveled person. Show me one school in the world which is teaching all this stuff that I just talked in the last 1.5 hours. Not one. Not one. And you know, when I do corporate training today, I tell my clients, what I am doing in your company today is repair work, repairing. If you prepare them, you won't have to repair them. Where do you prepare them? You prepare them in schools and colleges, and sadly, they're not doing their job. I had the dean of James Cook University from Australia attend a program in Singapore. Immediately he went back and got his clearance from the board, and he said, Mr. Khera, we want you to set up a center of leadership excellence for us in our Singapore campus. So they have partnered with me now. They've just firmed up. In fact, it was done last year, but due to pandemic, we never took off from there. But when we do training now, we prepared a program for them, and including when we do for corporates, you know, the problem is we created a program called induction, an orientation, and the program is called Prepare Them, Don't Repair Them. Prepare them, don't repair them.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Shiv, this is...
I think we've gone a little over time, I think.
I think we have. I do want to say, I think you have encapsulated so much for us to absorb. And in such a practical way. I mean, I've just been taking notes. I mean, even though I've read your books, I'm taking lots of notes. You know, you talked about support groups and relationships. I mean, I would be remiss if I didn't highlight why TiE is so important to most of us, because we're a support group. We're a support group to each other, but more importantly, we're a purpose-driven community, and we want to give back to the entrepreneur ecosystem. And so with that, Shiv, I did want to request, and I know that we've gone over, but I don't think anyone's complaining yet. It would be, I did want to open up to 1 or 2 questions that people had. Rather than I frame your questions, if you'd like, please, you can unmute yourself and ask Shiv a question. We'll take 2 questions tops. I know we've gone over time, Shiv. So are you all right with that, Shiv? Another 5 minutes?
Yeah, perfectly fine. Just tell them to keep the question to my level. BCom 3rd division failed in 10th.
As we just learned, Shiv, that academia hasn't always prepared the right people for the right jobs. So I think there's... all right. Anyone who wants to take a question with Shiv? Okay, so I will read out a question from Sanjay. He says, do you feel that being Indian helped you become a better trainer? I don't know, Shiv,
No, nothing at all. In fact, it has nothing to do with being Indian at all or not. In fact, see how I got into my leadership training part. In fact, I started volunteering my time in the US in maximum security prisons in the jails. That's how I started my leadership training programs. So now keep in mind, Amit, maximum security prisons are not small time criminals. They're big time murderous rapists. So I used to go in and I started teaching them attitude self-esteem programs. That's how I started. And then I saw life change. Then I said, let me take it to the corporate world. And then I saw life change, and then I started moving, and God was kind. And literally, I would say my first client was Lufthansa. I mean, and it was a very tough one. I mean, it's a long story, so I'm not going to get into it. But someday when you and I are sitting together, how could an unknown guy from the street who's never done any training other than jails get Lufthansa as a first client? What a joke.
Yeah.
But that's a little long story. But I mean, that was the takeoff point. And then we started doing programs for Lufthansa in Atlanta in US, in Nigeria, Sri Lanka, Nepal, India, and all over, and batches of 100, 150, 200 people. And one after the other, it just went on.
Yeah. So thank you, Shiv. Just one more question from Kailash Gupta. His question was, what's the difference between an industrialist, entrepreneur, startup entrepreneur, and a family business person? Can it be related to risk abilities? I thought this was quite interesting for an entrepreneur forum. Can it be related to risk abilities?
Okay, Amit, you see, I come from a business family, and I'm not coming from the academia. You see, the entrepreneurship, risk-taking ability, to me, is a lot of grooming. It is a lot of grooming. Have you noticed one thing? There are families, Jews all over the world. How come they are such great entrepreneurs all over the world? That as a community, they've done phenomenally well. All major businesses all over the world are owned by them. You see, same thing within the Indian group. If you look at the Marwari community, have you noticed this young kid, 12 years old, can probably teach you and I much more than what they can teach at a good business school up there. I'm not kidding. That's a fact. In the business school, they teach you great stuff, how to write business plans, how to write this, how to write that. This guy knows a lot more than I do, and many of those guys. And all they can do is write great plans, but beyond that, nothing more. So it is a lot to do with conditioning and grooming, how you are brought up. So I personally look at how the Gujarati families all over, Sindhi families, amazing. Look at the Sindhi families pretty much all over the world. The guys are in business somewhere. So I personally feel there's a lot of grooming that goes in the risk-taking ability and so on. It is, one learns as goes with time. And don't get me wrong, one can learn in a formal education also, not that they can't. But it is a lot of conditioning that as you come up with. Remember one thing, risk-taking is an attitude. And sadly, many times I have addressed IITians and the other places, and they talk of passion, this, that, and they've learned the word. This one word, startup, has gotten into every IITian and IIM guide. Or startup. You see, what I all share with them is, buddy, look, my only suggestion and advice would be that you want to start up, start small, think big.
Yeah, absolutely. So
start small, think big. You know why? Because we are bound to make mistakes. And if you start small, your mistake will be small. and you will be able to recoup a lot better and faster. And then you can scale up.
Yeah.
If you start big, your mistake will be very big and you may be gone forever. So be careful, start small, think big, and then scale up.
Excellent, Shiv. Thank you. I know that Ayush, I don't know, Ayush, if you're still there, if you want to ask the question yourself, or would you want me to read it out? That's the last question. Unfortunately, there's some wonderful questions there, Shiv, but I think we've run out of time. Ayush, not sure if you wanted.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, Amit sir.
Yeah. Hi.
Good evening. Hello, Shivji, namaste.
Yes, sir.
Question is that I'm early stage entrepreneur, and I'm the co-founder of Alumni Electric. During a pandemic, I lost my enthusiasm to grow my business, and whenever I try to focus on growing my business and doing some planning for fundraising, I got distracted and I avoid doing those things. And major of the time, I keep those things watching YouTube videos or movie or Instagram. So what should I do to bring back my enthusiasm and start working on my business?
Okay, Ayush. Amit, I need 2.5 minutes to answer this. Look, many times people ask me, he's lost his enthusiasm to go on and on and on. Many times people ask me that there are people who go through our programs, our 4-day leadership, or go through webinars or read my book. They get motivated and charged up for a little while, but then after some time, the motivation dies down. So many times people ask me also, do you also get demotivated? Guess what my answer is, Ayush. I also get demotivated. And they ask me, then to get motivated, what do? I said, I read my book. Now, let me share something. An athlete who practices every day, when he stops practicing, Ayush, what happens? Does he maintain the stamina or the stamina goes down? Ayush, does the stamina go down?
Yes.
Answer is, Ayush, are you there?
Yeah. I am here.
Give me an answer. When an athlete stops practicing, does the stamina go down? Yes, no?
Yes.
Okay. We interact together. See, stamina goes down. So that means to maintain that stamina or to maintain that enthusiasm, we need to continue our practice. Yes. See, my friend, just like our bodies need food every day, our minds need positive thoughts every day. You see, if you feed your body with junk food, what will happen? You will fall sick. That means your body does not need food, it needs good food. Similarly, our mind just does not need thoughts, it needs positive thoughts. Otherwise, we become mentally sick. So, remember, our enthusiasm went down. See, motivation is like fire. Unless you keep adding fuel to it, it dies. Motivation dies. And people say, what about willpower? My friend, willpower will only take you so far and no more. You see, willpower is like a battery. Unless you recharge, it goes down. Let me ask you, when you leave your home in a car, you get your tank full. But do you wait for the tank to get empty before you get a refill? Answer is no. You see, you get your refill before it gets empty. So the same thing in life, you don't wait your motivation level to die down. See, to stay motivated, my friend, you need to read good books. You need to continuously feed your mind with positive thoughts. Otherwise, we all slip back, including Shiv Khera. Everybody slips back. So to maintain that, Keep moving, my friend. That's it. There is no other answer.
Wonderful, Shiv. Just absolutely. I feel I need some time to spend with your books again. I've got your books. I'm probably going to do a refresh. I've taken a lot of notes. I think so many wonderful reminders. So many insights, so many perspectives that you've shared that are so practical. And foremost, we're so grateful to you for taking the time and the extended time. No, really, I know how busy you are. I know how hard it is for you to squeeze things into your calendar, and you made it a point to do it around the Christmas time frame. Gave a time, and especially the session for TiE and the future of us and IIT Alumni. We're very grateful. This is not the last of the conversation, Shiv. I'm sure we're going to continue on from here. Read your books. We'll come back smarter, better informed. And hopefully we'll answer. I won't get into trouble by giving two wrong answers. Next time I'll get them right.
I wish I could do a leadership program for the entire TiE all over the world. But grateful, grateful, and wish you, Arishta, and everybody, all the TiE members, a very happy, healthy, and a prosperous Christmas, New Year, and 2022 should everybody see everybody up there. God bless.
Absolutely. And we learn more and earn more. Thank you, Shiv. Thank you very much. Wish you a very happy New Year.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you,
everyone.
Thank you.
Take care.